Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. When I saw the moving truck parked in front of her building, my chest tightened until I could barely breathe. The laughter echoing from the open window above, his laughter, felt like a blade pressed against my ribs. And then I heard hers. Sophie's laugh. The same laugh that used to fill our kitchen while I brewed her morning coffee. Now it belonged to both of them. I didn't mean to stop there. I told myself I'd just drive past, just to see if the rumors were true. But when I saw his car, when I saw them standing side by side on the balcony of what was now their apartment, I froze. Her arm brushed against his. He leaned in and whispered something that made her giggle. Then she kissed him. It wasn't the kind of kiss that starts something new. It was the kind that confirmed something old. Something that had been happening long before I ever found out. I remember the first time I mentioned her name. I don't trust Olivia, I'd said casually, trying to mask the insecurity I hated feeling. She's too familiar with you. He had laughed, light and dismissive, as if I'd just told the funniest joke. Come on, Mia, he said, shaking his head. You're jealous of Olivia? She's married. And she's my coworker, not some temptress from a movie. I had laughed too, embarrassed, pretending to believe him. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You choose ignorance when the truth feels too dangerous to hold. The signs had been small at first. Late nights at the office. Work trips that suddenly became team-building weekends. A phone that started buzzing face down on the counter instead of in his pocket. And the worst part? The way he began to treat me like I was the problem. You're imagining things, he'd say with that calm, condescending tone that made me question my sanity. You're getting paranoid again, Mia. Don't ruin what we have with your insecurities. I'd nod and apologize. Every single time. Because I wanted to believe the man I married wasn't capable of deception. I wanted to believe that the laughter he shared with me at night, the soft touch of his hand against my back, still meant something. But love makes fools of us all. It was a message that changed everything. A simple, stupid text that wasn't even meant for me. Can't wait for tonight. You always smell like vanilla when you're nervous. He had sent it to me by mistake. Or maybe to her. And his finger slipped. But when I asked him about it, he didn't even blink. It was a joke, he said. A line from a meme. God, you're really losing it, Mia. He said it so smoothly, so effortlessly, that for a moment I almost doubted myself. But something inside me had cracked open that night. And once you hear the sound of something breaking, you can't pretend it's whole again. Weeks later, I decided to visit his office. Not to spy, at least that's what I told myself, but to surprise him. I even brought his favorite lunch. When I walked in, his assistant looked startled. Out with Olivia, she said, fumbling with her pen. They had a client meeting. I tried to smile, pretending not to notice the tremor in her voice. But something about her eyes told me she knew exactly what I didn't want to admit. So I waited. 3 hours later, he returned, laughing, his hand resting lightly on Olivia's back. They both stopped when they saw me. Oh, hey, he said, his face freezing in that half-smile he used when he was cornered. Didn't expect you here. Olivia's smile faltered, and she mumbled something about needing to get back to her desk. But her perfume lingered, the same vanilla from his text. That night, he tried to make it up to me. Flowers. Dinner. Promises. I've been distant, he said softly. But there's nothing going on with her. You've got to trust me. I wanted to scream, to demand the truth, but the fear of losing him felt heavier than my anger. So I stayed silent. I let him hold me, even though his arms felt foreign. I told myself that love could survive suspicion. That if I held on tightly enough, it would all go away. But love isn't built to survive lies, it rots under them. The confirmation came 2 months later. A mutual friend mentioned she'd seen him at an apartment complex across town. He said he was helping a friend move, she said casually. I smiled and thanked her. But inside, something shifted. That night, I followed him. I waited until he left for another late meeting, then drove behind his car, keeping my headlights off. He parked in front of a new complex, sleek, modern, with glass balconies and soft lighting. I watched him walk to the entrance and buzz in. Minutes later, Olivia appeared at the window, smiling as he came inside. I sat in my car until midnight, watching the lights go out one by one, watching my husband disappear into someone else's life. When I finally confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just looked at me with that tired expression of someone who's been caught and no longer cares. I didn't plan for this to happen, he said quietly. You and we stopped working, Mia. You know that. Stopped working. As if our marriage was some malfunctioning machine he could just trade in for a newer model. He packed his things the next day. No fight. No apology worth remembering. I thought that would be the end. But sometimes the real pain doesn't come from losing someone. It comes from realizing they never feared losing you. Now, as I stand across the street from that balcony, watching him carry a box into what used to be our future, I feel strangely calm. Their laughter floats down again, soft and unbothered. It used to break me, but now it only solidifies one truth. I'm free. Free from his lies. From my own denial. From the endless cycle of doubt and gaslighting that hollowed me out piece by piece. But as I turn away, I let myself imagine the life they're building together. The dinners, the morning coffees, the little inside jokes. And I smile. Not because I forgive him, but because I know something he doesn't. The lease for that apartment? It's still under my name. Tomorrow morning, when the landlord receives my termination notice, the laughter will stop. And maybe, for once, he'll understand what it feels like to lose everything without ever seeing it coming.